Hi everybody, I'm Michael Pauly, and I record audiobooks. Some of my listeners have asked if I would give a little sneak peek inside the studio of what it's like to record a book. So I'm going to take you inside today and show you what the process is like putting together a book. Today I am working on a book by Adair Hart. It is a series of books in his series called the Evaran Chronicles. And he writes these awesome sci-fi books about these four travelers who are traveling through space and time and doing all this wacky stuff, meeting all of these crazy different aliens and going on all of these different adventures. So we've been doing several books together, and this is going to be a little sneak peek inside of what it's like to record one of his books. A little bit of technical info for anybody interested in that. This is my microphone right here. I record on a TLM 103 microphone. It goes into the computer through a mixer, through an interface put out by Apollo. I record into Logic Pro, which is Apple's main recording programming. And then I save my files, pop them into Adobe Audition, and that's where I do any post-processing. With Adair's books, we do some fun stuff with some of the characters to create some of the alien noises and sound effects and things like that. And then I pop the files out of Adobe, put them into the Amazon system, and they process it all and get it up for sale for you. So that's the technical side of how it all works. And now I will go ahead and get set up and then let you see a little bit of me recording some of Adair's book. Chapter 3.
Earlier that day, at 9:30 a.m. in the city of Dinesh on the planet Roeth, United Planet's Bureau of Law Enforcement agent Jane Trellis sighed as she swung her legs over the side of her bed. She stretched and yawned as she took stock of her bleak apartment. The familiar smell of Kalish fruits greeted her. With a grin, she looked down at her fair-skinned left palm. Using her thumb, she pressed at a barely lit circle under the skin between her middle two fingers. A menu appeared in the air in front of her with several options. She was in the mood for something cheerful. Pressing the apartment button caused various panels to showcase themes. She chose a theme that reminded her of Fredoria, her home world. When she looked around, the furniture was more pleasant. She loved her augments, especially the ocular ones that gave her augmented reality. With a press of a button, she could change the theme of anything she looked at via an augmented reality interface. However, it was time to clean up and then get to work. Being a field agent assigned to Dinesh was not as easy as she had thought it was going to be. Her boss and family friend, Andrew Dotrick, was lenient with her and allowed her a wide berth in terms of how she operated. Cases would be sent to her, and she would work on them out in the city and occasionally check in at the office. Today was one of those check-ins. Andrew was a father figure to her, and after her parents died, he had watched over her until she was an adult. Growing up was not easy, but Andrew's steady hand guided her through troubled times. When Andrew came out to Roeth, she was initially dismayed that he was going so far away. However, working with him now was natural to her. She would prove that his decision to let her work for him was not a mistake. She headed to the bathroom and stripped off her undergarments before stepping into a clear cylinder. After locking it, she interacted with her ARI and started the cleaning cycle. Dark blue water shot down and filled the cylinder up to her chest. It then swirled around her, occasionally rising up to the top of her head to soak her long brown hair. After a few minutes of that, the water dispensed out the bottom. Warm air surrounded her as the drying cycle commenced. After a few moments, she stepped out of the cylinder, feeling refreshed. Next up was to get her power suit on. She walked over to a wall near her bed and tapped at it. A portion of it slid back, and a structure pushed out. It had her suit, boots, the other pieces of standard equipment constrained. This was one of the highlights of her day. The white suit with silver and dark gray segmented lines was damage-resistant, yet flexible. In addition to augments she had in her body, the suit made her more effective in the field. The black boots could magnetize to any metal surface, and her skin-tight black gloves allowed her to grip slippery surfaces. After putting on her suit and boots, she grabbed her standard-issue firearm. Her fingers ran over the cool metal of it when it was holstered. It had saved her several times. Although stun was the official setting, it could scale up as needed, depending on the fight. She never went anywhere without it. With a final check over, she went to the balcony. Looking down at the busy street made her smile. What caused the Kalish to stand out from non-augmented humans was their rapid movements. They seemed to move faster in general, in all aspects, and were formidable close-quarter combatants. The Kalish had come a long way since integration. Their past was not as peaceful. They had advanced far enough to build a condensed space drive and attracted the attention of nearby Vos Imperium, a vicious, jackal-like human race that saw Roeth as a resource to be taken. They would have taken it completely over. Due to their technological advantage, but advanced dynamics stepped in and evened the technological playing field. The war ended when the Kalish petitioned to join the United Planets. Led by Earth and Fredoria. After the United Planets had stepped in, they handed the Vos Imperium a commanding defeat. Ever since then, the Kalish had embraced the United Planets and requested integration shortly afterward. It was a long process, and the establishment of the Corona space station and incorporation of offices was the first.
So that's a little sneak peek of what it's like to do an initial recording for a little bit of the text. What I'll do next is I'll go ahead and pop that material into my editing software. Now there's two ways that I approach editing. Sometimes I'll do what I did today where I'm on a roll and I'll just keep going, and then afterwards I'll find those couple spots where I fumbled a little bit because nobody's perfect, and I'll cut those out and fix it and clean it up. Sometimes I'll do what's called punch editing, where I'll just stop, go to the point where I had a little fumble, and put the cursor there and start the recording again. And so basically you're editing as you go. So there's two ways to approach it, and that's how that works. So I hope you enjoyed getting a little sneak peek at what it's like to do some initial recording on a chapter. If you guys like these kinds of videos, maybe I'll do more of them. I don't know. This is the first time I'm doing this. So anyways, that's a little sneak peek inside my studio here on the Upper East Side in Manhattan. So thank you for listening, and thank you for watching this video, and thanks for supporting the work that I do. Take care.